Oh boy, we got a face of the franchise on our side. Gotta love it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about star NFL quarterback from the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, being on our side. Now, what is quote unquote our side, you ask? Well, I'm glad you did. Our side says you shouldn't be forced or coerced or anything like that to get the VAX if you don't want to. If you want the VAX, go out there and get it. Your body, your choice, your prerogative, do that. If you don't want to get it, that's fine. Your body, your choice. Don't go out there and do that. That's the way Aaron Rodgers feels. And unfortunately, that stance is very political and very controversial, especially for him, because at the beginning of the season, matter of fact, it might have been preseason, he was asked a question directly, are you vaxxed? And he said, yeah, I'm immunized. And as a matter of fact, check this out.
Are you vaccinated, and what's your stance on vaccinations?
Yeah, I've been immunized.
So some say he lied right there because he was not actually vaxxed, but he had some kind of treatment from his doctor that raised his immunity. They gave him antibodies, if I'm not mistaken. So technically he's, I guess, immunized from what he's saying and according to his doctor, but he did not have the actual vax. Now, there's a whole lot more to this story. Now, and before I go any further, let's roll a clip. This is a clip from the Pat McAfee show that has come out just recently. The first clip was from some months ago, if I'm not mistaken, but this is from like a couple of days ago. After we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what he said there. Then I give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
I'm 48 hours in, and I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and I've been doing a lot of the stuff that he recommended in his podcasts and, on the phone to me. Health should not be political. It shouldn't be that, Trump endorsed ivermectin and HCQ, and so take that off, it doesn't work, I mean, in general, I think we all should have been a little hesitant. When Trump in 2020 was championing these vaccines that were coming so quick, what did the left say? And I'm talking about every member of the left. Don't trust the vaccine. Don't get the vaccine. You're going to die from the vaccine. And then what happened? Biden wins and everything flips. Shouldn't that initially give you a little bit of pause and go, hold on a second? Politics is a total sham. I'm not going to go on Fox News like I wouldn't go on CNN. I have zero desire to do any of that. The only desire I have is to empower people out there to take autonomy over their body. We've given away billions of dollars to these pharmaceutical companies now for these vaccines, and it's not going to stop. Merck's coming out with a pill. Pfizer's coming out with a pill that's going to help. It's basically the expensive versions of ivermectin. Why do people hate ivermectin? Not just because Trump championed it, because it's cheap generic. Can't make any money off it. But it's been used 1 billion times in India. Go look at that research. What's going on over there? In actuality, it was pretty easy in the beginning to eliminate 2 of them. And it didn't involve going into the questionable history of some of their criminal activities and fraud cases or any of that stuff. It was simply the fact that I have an allergy to an ingredient that's in the mRNA vaccines. So on the CDC's own website, it says, should you have an allergy to any of the ingredients, you should not get one of the mRNA vaccines. So those 2 were out already. So my only option was Johnson & Johnson. At this time, in the early spring, I had heard of multiple people who had adverse events around getting the J&J. Nothing that was no deaths or anything, but just some really difficult times and physical abnormalities around the J&J shot. And then in mid-April, the J&J shot got pulled for clotting issues, if you remember that, right? So the J&J shot was not even an option at that point. So then my options became, okay, what can I do to protect myself and my teammates if there's not one of the big 3 options for me in my own body? And so I looked into and talked again to a lot of medical individuals and professionals and found that there was an immunization protocol that I could go to best protect myself. It was not, again, something that the league didn't know about. The league was fully aware of it upon my return to the Packers, and it was at that point that I petitioned them to accept my immunization status as under their vaccination protocol. Now, at the time, they had only had the big three was what they're going to do, and if you weren't in the vaccinated category, you were in a different category, which involved some draconian measures and protocols that you would have to adhere to, which in my opinion were not based on science. Were more based in a shame-based environment to try and get as many guys to get vaccinated as possible so that the league looks better to the rest of the world. For the media out there taking shots at me, like, you don't know my story, now you do. So quit lying about me.
All right, you saw that, you heard that. Now, shout out to Aaron Rodgers. Hey, I like you, man. You got a good head on your shoulders. What you're saying makes perfect sense. And I'm going to start with the first thing that's kind of like top of my mind about not being political. This whole thing with the vax should not be political at all because it's not about politics. It's about your own body. Why is your own body political? Now, when it comes to abortion and stuff like that, it's different because some are going to say, well, a baby's not a baby until it's born. That's a whole different thing. That's about definition. But nobody's going to deny that your body is your body. Okay, it's not about a baby. It's about you specifically. Okay, somebody can't force you to do a thing that you don't want to do, or at least they shouldn't be able to. And why is it that everything is political when it comes to treatment? Why is it just one way, and that's the only way you're going to be able to treat yourself? Okay, it doesn't make any sense. So I'm with him when he says that it shouldn't be political. However, if you don't want to be political in a situation and you want to just have things, you want to kind of be in the middle, you're not going to be able to do that because at a certain point, it's going to be yay or nay. Let's talk about school boards in Virginia, for example. If the school board is mostly Democrat or left-leaning people and they say that you should have boys in the bathroom with girls, and then the girl gets assaulted and they try to cover it up because it goes against the narrative of, if somebody claims they're trans, they're harmless or whatever, and everybody on the right says that shouldn't have happened, don't cover it up, the boy shouldn't be there. At a certain point, you got to pick one side or the other. You could be neutral when you're a regular normie, but at a certain point, you can't. That's like saying, you know what, I live in California and I'm not going to move because politics are irrelevant. No, politics are very relevant when they affect you. And that's happening right now with Aaron Rodgers. So I support him, not trying to be political, but at the same time, you're going to have to be in certain times because it's a yay or a nay. And if everybody votes yay and you want to say nay and you didn't have a say in it, well, deal with the consequences, but I'll move on. Anyway, what he was saying here made perfect sense. People were trying to clown him, talking about, oh, you consulted Joe Rogan. He's not a real doctor, all this and that. Well, who should he consult then? Because there are doctors that say the same thing that Joe Rogan says. Joe Rogan is acting on the advice of doctors. So why can't you talk to him, a guy that had the virus at 50 plus years old and beat it in a day, who talked to doctors? Why can't you consult with him? Why not? And who are you going to talk to that you trust if you're on the left? What, Dr. Fauci? You going to trust him? The guy that said at the beginning of the scandemic, don't wear a mask, it's not going to help you. Then a day later, he said, oh, wear it is common sense. Matter of fact, wear it too is common sense. Then he said there was no gain of function research in the Wuhan lab. And the NIH, his employer, said, yes, there was. And he keeps trying to play semantics talking about, oh, nah, we didn't really fund it. Dr. Fauci said something different day to day. I would not trust him with a tooth cleaning, let alone my life or life or death. Never. There are doctors who are better than others. Who do we trust? Whoever the government says, whoever the TV says, the TV that's sponsored by Big Pharma itself. What he said about the whole money thing is right on point. I was saying that too. And everybody had been known about that. Chris Rock had said that in a routine back in the day, about 20 years ago. Now he wants to try to attack Kyrie Irving as being an anti-vaxxer, Trump supporter, moron, or whatever. But 20 years ago, he was saying it'd never be a cure for AIDS because you get more money off of the treatment rather than the cure. Okay, so he's talking about money back then when it comes to Big Pharma. Now all of a sudden he's a shield for Big Pharma. I'm just keeping the same energy. I know that Big Pharma is about money. That's been pretty much the standard reaction to Big Pharma over the years. So why is it any different right now? Okay, and then as far as the NFL, I'm talking about them right quick. The NFL, they're mad because he quote unquote lied about being vaxxed. But the NFL protocols for vaxxed and unvaxxed don't make any sense. I guess they're mad because he didn't follow the unvaxxed protocols. But the unvaxxed protocols are like, okay, if you're unvaxxed, you got to wear a mask in certain places. And also, if you catch the bug, if you are vaxxed and catch the bug, all you got to do is submit negative tests like 48 hours straight, something like that. And you come back to the team in a short period of time, like 2 days, whatever it is. But if you are unvaxxed, it's a mandatory 10 days off, and then you got to get a test. So I'm having a hard time understanding what is 10 days going to really do. Like, if you're negative after 2 days, why wait 10 days? I mean, if you're negative, you're negative. That should be pretty much the only thing that matters. The way it should be is you get tested like the day before the game. If you're negative, you're good to go. If you're positive, just stay isolated or whatever until you are no longer positive. That would kind of make more sense rather than saying, hey, if you are unvaxxed, you got to spend more time away from your team, mandatory like 10 days away from your team. I just don't really understand how that really makes sense. And then the whole 10 days thing, it's like it puts you, it's just a weird thing. They're trying to make it to where you don't miss 2 games in a row. You might miss 1 game and then the next week, but you won't miss 2 games in a row. The protocols are so dumb, don't make any sense. I don't see why anybody would even be upset at Aaron Rodgers or anybody else for not being vaxxed, because it's not going to make a difference. People still think that if you are vaxxed, it prevents transmission, but it does not prevent transmission. All that it does is allegedly make you, it gives you the ability to be less sick, allegedly, after you catch it, but that's it. Jen Psaki Bomber, whatever, the press secretary, she caught the bug. Double masked, double vax, still caught it. It's not preventing transmission. It allegedly reduces your hospitalization rate. But isn't it the same thing that all these medications do? The HCQ, the IVM, the monoclonal antibodies and stuff like that. Why can't we look at other forms of treatment except for the shot? Is it because of money? If it's not, then I can't tell. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers and a bunch of other guys who are refusing to get the vax or just doing things their own way? You got Kyrie Irving, Jonathan Isaac, a bunch of more guys that are saying, nah, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it my way. How you feel about that? Let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. I am most certainly a guy that is pro bodily autonomy. I'm not anti-vax. That's a misnomer. Just because I don't want to get it don't mean that you should not be able to get it. I say, if you want it, go get it. That's fine. It's your choice. I'm not trying to block anybody from getting whatever they want. But I also stand up for those who don't want to get it. It should be your choice. Simple. Because really, unlike what Charles Barkley said, it's not for anyone else other than you. Period. You should be able to treat yourself however you want to treat yourself. Get the vax, not get the vax. That's your choice. Your body, your choice. It should be that way in a real way, and not just when it comes to killing the baby, which is not your body. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.